Good afternoon, Indiana. January 31st. We are back at it again, aren't we? Tell me this winter hasn't been one to remember. I sure will remember it for quite a while, and we are not done yet. I will get to next week here in a minute, but I'm going to lead up to next week with what we call teleconnections, and I really debated on putting this in here because I like keeping it simple. You know, I know you. A lot of you people just all you want to see is it going to rain, snow, or is it going to be ice? And I get that, and I'll get to that here in a minute, okay? And I'll get to what's going to happen next Tuesday and Wednesday. I take that back. What's being shown for right now? You got to keep it, I got to keep it variable. The term is I'm trying to use. What we go by, you've got to look beyond the modeling. It's something we call teleconnections, and these are upper air networks. These are upper air patterns that develop over our country, and they're responsible for what happens pretty much at all times of the year. Okay, and the first one I'm going to show is the NAO off the Euro. Anytime, I'll just give you a baseline. Right here, 0, and anytime you see this blue line right here, this is what actually verified, and these are all packages of where it was supposed to go. But right here is the blue is the mean line, the means. This would be neutral, 0. Okay, right here would be positive, and this would be negative. Anytime this index we call the North Atlantic oscillation is negative, okay, it generally means cold weather and better chances of storms off the East Coast. Okay, as you can see, the NAO has been really fluctuating all year. It went positive to 26. Now it's dipping back down negative again. But here, keep note of the 6th of February. Okay, do you see where the NAO is at right here on the 6th? Right here. This is maybe right back in here. Right back in here. This is the area of our storm, and a lot of times. Now let me go. Keep that note right there in mind. Let me go to next the Pacific North American pattern. Okay. This is basically ridging. Okay, that happens in the west. Anytime you see these numbers positive, like it's been all the way through the beginning of January, like this, see this right here? That means this right here, okay? Anytime you see those positive, like that, that means there's what we call a ridge right here of nice warmth. And look up California for verification. They've been nice and warm, okay? Then, boom, it goes like this, okay? Basically, there's a big high pressure right here that's causing an influx of warmth, and right here we get ridging in the pattern of the jet stream dives south, and it allows this cold air right here to come down. That's called a positive PNA. Okay. Now, when you get a negative PNA, you guessed it. It switches. Gets cold right here, and then we warm up right here, like this, because the southeast ridge starts pumping moisture or warm air back that way, and Canada's actually allowed to go into the west. I should have drew that out here a little bit that way. Okay, that's a negative PNA. Okay, so saying that, let's go look at where we've been. Now look, we've been cold all winter. Look where the PNA has been. Remember what I just said? When it's positive, we are cold. Look where it's been. This is the verification score. Okay, now this is what gives me hope for the long range. I've been saying after February 12th, I think we warm up mid-month. And this is why. See what the PNA is doing? The PNA is going negative. And remember what I just said? Negative is good. Okay? Ridging in the west. I'm sorry, troughiness in the west and ridging in the east. Remember, troughiness is digging down. Colder air. Ridging is warmer air moving up from the south. Okay? The EPO has been the big wild card of the year. Okay, and I'm going to go the ensemble, the European ensemble, which basically is a much more reliable way to forecast, or not forecast. I don't call myself a forecast. Let me get that out of the way. I don't call myself a forecaster. I call myself an enthusiast, and the things I make are not forecasts, they're calls. Okay, that is one thing I consider myself personally. The EPO has done what we've called trumped the PNA this year, and do you remember how cold it got middle of January again, our second cold blast? Well, when the EPO goes negative, we get cold. Look what happened right here. You remember the cold blast we had? The EPO went what we call deep sea diving. it absolutely tanked. Tanked. I mean, it absolutely tanked. Hang on for a second here, my bad. Okay. Look what happened here. Down in this area right here. After January 21st, when we had that severe cold spell, it was down in the tank. That's because we had that massive troughiness moving down into our section of the country, the midsection. Okay. Now again, this gives me hope. This gives me hope for after February 12th. Trending positive. That's a good sign. That usually means warmer weather is coming after the 12th of February, and that's why I've been preaching this for the past week. I've been watching these and hoping this verifies, because Lord knows we all need the warmth, okay? But look around the 4th and 5th, okay? It's staying negative, the EPO is, okay? But the PNA, when we get what we call, let me go back up here. The NAO especially, see how it's going, see right here how it's hugging the neutral area? When you get this, when you get the NAO hugging the neutral area, it usually spawns a storm. Okay, it spawns a big storm. Generally not a good sign for the East Coast, and that's exactly what's going on here. Okay, this is the GFS 12Z model today. Just ran. I think the GFS is doing a pretty good job. It's in the area. It's in the ballpark. It's not completely off like it usually is. Okay, let's go forward, and I'm going to show you. Now, one thing I want you to note about the GFS. One thing I'm going to talk about is right here. Do you see that right there? See that high pressure system right there? That, I want you to watch that as this run goes forward. Okay? I'm going to talk about that here in a second. Watch what that high pressure system does right here. Okay? See it park itself right over Illinois. This is not for Tuesday, Wednesday. This is for Monday. See it park itself over Illinois. Now, do you see what happened here to this next storm? Whew. It got smushed south, all because of that high right there pushing against this. Okay, we got the southeast ridge right here pumping up. We've got colder air moving in. Notice that high, and we got another reinforcing 1028 millibar high. 1032 millibar high is pretty strong, folks. That is responsible for that. Okay, now let's go to the GFS's take for Tuesday and Wednesday. And I'm going to tell you what, guys, this is a big storm coming. It's a big storm. There's no way around it. It's a big storm, okay? Now, let's watch. Okay, we've got what we call digging right here. See the troughiness starting right here? See this right here? See it starting to dig down? That's what we call digging. We've got the birth, we got cyclogenesis starting to form down here, okay? Now just watch over here in Arkansas for this run. But watch the digging as this run goes on. Okay? See that digging starting even more? Okay, now in response to that digging, let me go back here, we've got a surface low pressure system starting to develop right here. But what do you see different here on this run than what you saw for the storm on Monday? I'll give you 2 seconds to guess it. Bingo. There's no high right here. Where is our high? It's missing. It's way back here. So what that is doing, that is allowing this system right here, this low, to actually track a little bit further up this way. It's actually riding what we call a thermal gradient and tracking up further this way instead of getting smashed down like the system on Monday is going to get. This is the key to this system Tuesday and Wednesday. What does this high pressure do? What does it do? Okay. Now, this run of the GFS was ugly for us, and I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to zoom in on this one. This run was ugly, okay? See that right there? Ice and sleet for us. Now, this is by no means a guarantee, okay? But the GFS has been showing this for quite a while. Heavy snows up here, right up here. All because of a lack of what we call high pressure. It's not enough oomph to push this thing a little bit further south. Something I've been noticing though, this run, this low where this is actually tracking, generally favorably in the past, right here is usually a favorable track for heavy snow right over central Indiana. What I believe is happening, and this is speculation on my part, what I believe is happening is the moisture transport we've got coming up this way, which there's going to be a lot of moisture with this storm. I'm just going to tell you that right now. There's going to be a lot of moisture. I I emotionally believe, I firmly believe, how's that, that the warm air we're getting that comes up with all these systems, see, the warm air coming up right here, is so strong with this system that let me restart this here, sorry for my internet being so slow, DSL stinks, that warm air is so powerful. I think we need a low track right in here this time to get the heaviest snow right here, okay? I think that's what's going on. We've got to make up what we call warm air advection that pumps into these storms, and it kills somebody every time. Okay. Also, with this type of track, I'm getting a little bit worried what we call a dry slot. Okay. The heaviest deformation banding on this run sets up right around in here, and the icing sets up right in our area. Well, the dry slot's moving right up through this way, and it would hit us on this run. Okay. This is going to change. This is a GFS. This is GFS, but up here again, I want to stress this right here. Notice the lack of a high pressure system. Okay, notice that lack of high pressure which rotates counterclockwise. It's not in here, and it's not suppressing this south far enough to give us good snow. So it's allowing this system to track a little bit further up this way rather than through this way. Okay, I hope you guys are understanding this. Let's go to the Canadian. Okay, the Canadian is further south. Okay, it came in today. But the problem with the Canadian is the same thing. It's picking up on the same thing here. I'll stop it right there. That's the best image to pick up on. It's picking up on this as well. Okay, it's also pushing warm air advection. See how this warm air is pumping up with the storm? The cold air is wrapping in behind it, like this. It's pumping in warm air advection really far north as well. So with the Canadian, we are really close. It's an I-70 special right here. Even though the track's way down here, even though the track is usually, this is usually a favorable track for heavy snow in Indiana, it's not occurring quite yet because see this red line? See that? See how far that 546 line's coming up in Indiana? That's troublesome. It's bumping the heavier snow back into here. This run is, okay? I cannot tell you to please bear with us because these tracks, if these tracks wobble this way or this way, it's the difference between rain, ice, or snow. I just want you to be patient with me. Okay? Now let me go out and tell you where my personal belief of where everything is going to track here. I believe the low is going to track in an area like this, somewhere in this area. Okay, that's where I believe this low pressure is going to track. It may nudge in. Possible it may come over central Indiana, which would wallop Chicago. This is where I think the low is going to track. Okay. Now, for Indiana, central Indiana snow levels, we want this track about right in there. We want it in central Kentucky, especially if this warm air advection keeps pumping up the way it is. Okay. Now, if this low tracks around the Ohio River or north, forget it. Central Indiana is out of the heavy snow, and the heavy snow will shift up into here. It'll shift up into Chicago. Chicago always cheers for these surface lows to track right over Indianapolis. That's usually a favorable snow track for them. But, and let me make this very clear. Let me go out and do this again. Let me try to draw this line while I've got you all on here. Someone in this area, up here, up in here too, going to get a snowstorm. No doubt about it. It's coming. A snowstorm is coming. How much? Don't know yet. To me, it looks like a major storm. I don't think enough moisture is being shown on these models as of yet, because the Gulf right down here is going to be wide open, what we call a southerly flow, and that's why I'm a little bit worried about warm air advection right now, trying to creep its way in. We're going to have to watch this. This may be a down to the last second thing. And something else I want you to notice about the Canadian. What do you notice up here? Again, where's that high? The Canadian did the same thing as the GFS. It kept this high. It smashed way over here in North Montana. That's not going to cut it, folks. We need a high about where I circled it. We need a high pushing on this thing to push it down this way a little bit, especially with as much warm air as pushing up with the storm, okay? So, that's the gist of things right there. Inside this circle, everybody be ready. Ice, snow, and rain. It's still on the table right now. If I had to lean one way or another, for central Indiana, I would say snow or ice. I would stay out of the rain for right now. But please don't bash me if it ends up being rain. It's really tight right now. Really tight. And I want you all to understand that, okay? So, I will be back. Hopefully you understood this. Please, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask me. I never go outside my knowledge base, and I will always confer with other people that are much more knowledgeable than me. Okay? So, I will be back, and again, please ask any questions if you have anything you need to know anything about. Have a good day, and stay tuned.